What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Hound. Today is the day, you know what day it is, November 15th, 2018. 7-star awakening batch number 4, I do believe, has hit us today. And as always, when we go in here, talk about these units, we're gonna be talking about the new stuff, their super team Rs, and if they have some new abilities or some other abilities that interact with their old kit, we'll go over their 5-star and 6-star forms then, but only then, because I don't want to waste y'all's time. So today we're going to start with Fohlen. Been a lot of changes to different units. Fohlen got a couple changes. First and foremost, let's talk about a super team right here though. 40 attack, light armor, 14 defense, 18 spirit, 80% wind resistance. So you use on a true double hand build. It's got that nice 40 attack if you happen upon the light armor here. And 80% wind resistance can be nice for your AoE magic cover tank, or maybe even on coming in future trials where you want wind resistance on your damage dealers and stuff too, so they can survive some random uncoverable wind damage. That being said though, let's move on down. Let's find some of his new stuff in his 7-star kit here. And look at this. Chocobo Wind, Cooldown Skill. 4-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Mitigate damage taken by 30% for 3 turns to all allies, so a little bit of support. Increase wind resistance by 100% to all allies, and decrease wind resistance by 75% for 3 turns to all enemies. So supportive skill here, a little bit of imperil. He already had access to some imperils every once in a while. Already had access to some wind buffs, so he kind of gets that and gets a little bit of 30% damage mitigation. So while it's an okay skill, it's nothing super insane. Chocobo Boost, increase your attack by 150% for 3 turns to the caster, and increase your limit burst gauge by 7.5 to 12.5 to the caster as well. So you get a little bit of a LB bonus there. Now, some 7-star passive storm. He's got Skilled Mercenary. If you put his own TMR on him, he gets 40% attack and 20% defense with a 50% killer rate bonus for physical damage versus beasts, birds, and aquatic monsters. It's 20% spirit buff there, and then Master Rider increases damage against bird, beasts, and aquatic monsters once again by another 50%, increases his jump damage by 100%, and increases his limit burst damage by 20. And that 20% limit burst damage bonus will be used with Resonant Slash here, leveled out to max at 7 stars. Is going to be a 14 times multiplier with 64% defense break. That 64% defense break, not the greatest thing in the 7-star era. It's still pretty decent, but it's not the 70-something% that a lot of the supportive damage dealers has access to. And that 14 times modifier is going to get enhanced by his 20% limit burst damage, so it's going to be an extra 2.something, 2.2 mods, so it'll be like a 16, 17 times modifier there as well. And then last but not least, his Chocobo Boost does change one of his previous skills. All right, so after you use Chocobo Boost, you'll notice Chocobo Dive here is normally a 2.3 times modifier with jump delay. Just normally jump delay, it's not a time jump. But global exclusive change here, if used after Chocobo Boost, the name changes to Chocobo Boost Dive, and it's going to be physical damage 6.0 multiplier with a timed jump delay of 1 turn to 1 enemy, and then 5.5 damage to all enemies as well. So this NJP, I think it was a 15 times multiplier, but it wasn't a time jump. This is actually a buff. I see a lot of people saying that it's a nerf because you can chain finish a time jump. You can't really chain finish a normal jump. So if you're chain finishing this, it's basically a 24 times multiplier. That being said, it's not the greatest thing ever. You have to Chocobo Boost, and then you have to jump and go in the air, and then the next turn you go down. So you basically have to waste 3 turns to go ahead and jump. So Fohlen, he's okay. He's probably not going to get used at all. If you really love him, you can make him a super delayed time jump chain finisher, but Roberta does that job a lot better due to her having a true dual wield. You know, Fohlen doesn't have any true dual wield, doesn't have any true double hand. His stats aren't as good as Roberta's. He doesn't have as much jump damage as Roberta's, and he spends an extra turn prepping his jump than Roberta does. So Fohlen, he's okay, not the greatest thing ever. Now, Roy's super team Rs, the 2-headed Dragon's Harp, a lot of HP, a lot of spirit on this. 30% HP, 30% spirit, 2-handed harp, 156 raw spirit, and 70 flat magic as well. So if you're using bards still, or you're just using some sort of unit, some sort of support who can just wear a harp, and all you want is to have one weapon, and you ran them into this, go ahead and slap it on them. It's going to be good for you there, and in that case there. Now let's go down here, some 7-star skills here. We're going to try to TLDR Roy as much as possible because he's got a lot of text. All right, so he's going to have 2 new songs. Okay, he's got the Marching Relay, whatever, and it's going to be 140% attack and defense buff with a 55% attack and defense break for all enemies while singing, and heals a little bit HP over time. If you use this after victory to the Brave, which was his old super strong skill, it's going to be 180% attack defense buff with a 65% attack defense break with HP split over 2, or HP regen over 2 turns, with mitigate physical damage taken by 25% for 2 turns to all allies. Mystic Lament is just going to be like the previous song, and except for attack and defense, it's going to be for magic and spirit. So it's a magic and spirit buff, magic and spirit break, and instead of mitigate physical damage after singing Victory to the Brave, it's going to mitigate magic damage, and instead of healing HP, it's going to give you MP regen. All right, change repertoire is going to be his first cooldown skill, 12 turn cooldown available on turn 1. Increase attack defense, magic, and spirit by 80% for 1 turn to all allies. Decrease attack defense, magic, and spirit by 55% for 1 turn to all enemies. And heal 4,000 HP to all allies, 40 MP to all allies, and limit burst gauge fill rate by 200% for 1 turn to all allies. So this is pretty garbage. It does do a lot of things all at the same time. But the numbers just aren't there, guys. The numbers just aren't there. It is pretty slot efficient to have buffs and breaks and HP heal and MP heal and limit burst fill rate all on the same skill, all in with 1 unit. But the buffs, not as good as a lot of the other buffers, like half as good. The breaks, not nearly as good. And it's a 12 turn cooldown, so it's pretty garbage, in my opinion. Helm of Salvation, 4 turn cooldown available on turn 1. Recover 100 flat MP. It's not 100%, it's 100 flat MP to all allies. So Roy not looking all that strong. 7-star skills. He's got the prayer here with his Team R equipped to get some spirit, gets some immunities to paralyze and petrify, upgrades his limit burst, which we'll get to. Increase your defense by 20%, increase your defense spirit by 30%, and auto cast Everlasting Song, which is 60 flat MP to the caster every turn. Not that Roy actually had mana problems, because he only do like 1 thing every 2 to 3 turns anyways, because he's stuck singing, but he'll have infinite MP now. That's pretty cool. Now, his limit burst here, upgraded. 7-star, increase your attack defense, magic, and spirit by 134% for 1 turn to all allies while singing, and it was used Draconic Reverberation for 1 turn as well. Now, 30 limit burst crystals for a 1-turn song. I mean, really? Like, really? And then Draconic Reverberation here is an attack defense, magic, and spirit bonus of 140% for 2 turns to all allies while singing. Decrease attack defense, magic, and spirit to all enemies for 2 turns by 60% with a little bit of MP refresh, and increase your limit burst gauge fill rate by 150%. And then you can just keep singing Draconic Reverberation. So Roy, he takes so much work to do what some other units can be able to do real soon, right? Same reasons the Elephant Art isn't that great. You can just go right on ahead and use CG Nicole, use Zargobath, use Erisha if you don't have either of those 2 units, who should be out in a couple of months or so, and just have a bunch of other stuff, not be locked singing to songs, not have to like chain sing songs and just playing your flute. You don't need to do all that, all right? Just I would solidly pass on him unless he's like your favorite character in the game or something. Now, Lunera is up next, and she got a little bit of love. A little bit of love. I know there's a lot of Lunera fans out there. So her S-Teamar is the Force Mysterian. Increase physical magical damage against demons by 100% and increase dark resistance by 30%. So it's not like a Grand Slam Super Teamar. When it's good, it's really good. 100% killers. Very, very strong. But for Super Teamar, if you're a Lunera fan, you're a Lunera fan, and you have 2 of them, you might want to just go ahead and use 2 Lunera for the arena instead of getting her Super Teamar, because it's so niche. Right now, for new 7-star skills and global exclusive changes, her first 7-star skill she learns at level 105 is a magic damage 7.0 multiplier with consecutive damage increase, 9-time increase, 2.0 max or 2.0 stacking multiplier each time, up to a 25 times multiplier max to 1 enemy. It is a 3-hit skill, so it can't really chain very well. You can chain weave it and chain finish it, but it's not really a chaining skill. Her second skill is a cooldown skill. It's a 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1. It recovers 13,500 HP to allies, 135 flat MP, and increased attack defense, magic, and spirit by 135% for 3 turns to all allies as well. And then global exclusive change enables skill for 3 turns to the caster. Now, this is not a song, right? This is not a song. This is not Roy. This is a flat 135% attack defense, magic, and spirit bonus to everyone. So you can do this, get your HP, get your MP, get the buff, and then you get double arrow. All right, and double arrow, which we'll get to after the passives, is very important for her new global exclusive change. I think you might have an idea of exactly what double arrow allows you to do. Her 7-star passive she gets, her trust ability, increase your magic by 40%, HP by 20%, and increase your physical magical damage dealt against demons by 25%. Shining Whirlwind Archery gives you a 5.0 multiplier increase to Gale Arrow and Gleaming Arrow. MP plus 20% passive, self-explanatory. Elven Wisdom, increase your limit burst gauge fill rate by 50%, increase equipment magic by 70% when single wielding any weapon. all right, and increase your modifier to Aurora Ray by 2.2 times. All right, so let's go over those real quick. Glare Arrow, Gleaming Arrow plus 5.0, and then Aurora Ray plus 2.2. So Aurora Ray goes up from a 4.0 to a 6.2. Gale and Gleaming Arrow go from a 2.5 times base to a 7.5 times base, and it can get the stacking multiplier increases, so they can go up to a 20 times multiplier total overall instead of a 15 times multiplier. So pretty cool there. So what does the old double arrow do? You can use Gale Arrow, Gleaming Arrow, Aurora Ray, and her new Hagian Velaz skill twice in one turn. So she gets dual cast, but she doesn't have it forever. So she only gets it for 3 turns. And keep in mind when you're reading these buffs on the wiki, it counts the turn you unlock it, the turn you unlock the skill, okay, as one of the turns. So you can, it says 3 turns of dual cast, but you really only have 2 turns of dual cast. Keep that in mind. All right, guys, so you can use her cooldown skill and then dual cast Aurora Ray, dual cast Aurora Ray, and then you have to wait another couple of turns before you can use her cooldown skill again. So that kind of like, you can use Aurora Ray. I think the better thing for her to do is use her cooldown skill and then start casting, you know, Hagian Velaz or Gale Arrow and Gleaming Arrow to get that modifier damage stack increase real high, right? Because you can dual cast it, and then on the 4th turn, you use her as a chain finish and you start throwing off, you know, 20 times multiplier chain finishing skills. Her limit burst doesn't really change that much. 18 times multiplier to all enemies, 20 hit skill. You can chain it, non-elemental. It's kind of whatever. But Lunera got a little bit of love. She's still not the greatest thing ever because she doesn't unlock permanent dual cast or anything crazy like that. But I'm sure you guys out there who like using the unit will enjoy the fact that she does have a very strong buff right away, and you can now chain finish or chain with her for quite a little bit during your encounters in FFBE. Now Baltheir got some love as well. His super Teamar is the Zodiac Shot, increases your attack by 80% when equipped with a gun. All right, increases physical damage to machine monsters by 50%. So very solid super Teamar. If you're using a gun, you're probably going to want to use this if you have access to it. As far as new changes to him and new skills, let's start over here with Rapid Shot. 4-turn cooldown available on turn 4. So you have to wait till turn 4 before you can even use this, okay? Physical damage combo, 1 to 6 times. So it fires off 1 to 6 times, very barrage style. Each shot is a 10 times multiplier. So if you get lucky, you just throw it off 6 times. It's a 60 times multiplier. With consecutive damage increase of 5 times, 5 multiplier each. So yes, it does count each use when you use Rapid Shot as a consecutive damage increase. So if you do attack with it 6 times, first time's 10 times multiplier, then a 15 times multiplier, and then 20 times multiplier, 25 times multiplier, 30 times multiplier. You get my drift. So it's a stacking damage increase during the barrage thing. And then it enables caster to use Finishing Blow for 2 turns. That's why I have to wait till turn 4 to use this, because it'll probably finish somebody off if you go ahead and land all these in there. Maybe you make a really long Aurora Ray chain, just Rapid Shot, Rapid Shot, Rapid Shot, Rapid Shot. So it's kind of neat that he has access to that. A fun thing to play around with you guys. Trick Shot, 2-turn cooldown available on turn 2. Randomly use Trick Weapon, Trick Weapon, Trick Weapon, or Trick Weapon. Pretty cool. Not really. The first one is an 8 times multiplier with fire resistance down, then 8 times multiplier lightning down, or water down, or light resistance down. So Trick Shot here, kind of lame, because you're going to want the Imperil. You don't go into a fight with like a water, fire, lightning, wind weapon. It's not a thing. You're going to go into the fire weapon. You're going to want the fire Imperil. You only have a 1 in 4 shot of getting the Imperil you need, so you need some sort of outside of Imperil. And then Siphon Shot is basically just a lance. Yes, this is level 110 skill. You get this from Odin. You can get Lance from Odin and just use that instead. A pretty garbage skill. I'm sorry, Baltheir fans. He is the leading man. Speaking of the leading man, he has the passive named the leading man. It's his TMR ability, or his Trust passive ability. Attack defense or attack magic HP and MP increased by 20%. Increase your equipment attack by 30% when dual wielding, so 30% true dual wield, and 100% double hand. Not true double hand, 100% double hand, which makes sense because this TMR is a one-handed gun. Be using that. Sniper's Eye, increase your modifier by 1.0 to elemental shot, fire, light, lightning, water, and killer shot. Increases your modifier to finishing blow by 2.0, and increases your modifier to rapid fire by 0.3. 20% MP passive, and then Quicksilver is last passive. Increases your attack by 30% and your limit burst gauge by 2 per turn. And then finishing blow, as always, is his unlocked skill, unlocked by Killer Shot. All right, physical damage, 5.0 multiplier with ignore 50% defense. It's going to get that 2.0 multiplier increase. So it's going to be 7.0, ignore 50%. So it's going to be a 14 times modifier there. His Limit Burst gets changed to a 7.0 multiplier, ignore 50% defense to all enemies. Pretty garbage in the 7-star era. It's pretty cheap at 24 Limit Burst crystals, but that's about it. So if you're using Baltheir, you're kind of just like firing off, you know, some elemental shots and stuff, and then you just rapid shot and try to fit the whole rapid shot into a chain finish and hope you get really lucky and hope you roll that 6 times multiplier. Oh my goodness. If you go dual wield, if you're dual wielding it, you'll actually fire up to 12 times, depending on how lucky you are. Maybe you'll just, the first 6, you know, you get up to that, get up to that nice, clean, what is that, like a 5 times 5, 35 times multiplier, and then on your second hit with your other weapon, you just fire off 6 35 times multiplier shots. Yeah, that's not going to happen, but it would be fun to see, guys. It would be fun to see. Now, Loren, much beloved, much awaited Loren. Let's get into this unit, all right? Her super team is probably the most underwhelming part about her, okay? And that's a good thing, right? When your super trust mastery is the worst thing about you, you know you're going the right way. So Loren, the Chrome Sphere here is a great sword, one-handed great sword, 170 attack, 20 defense, 20 spirit. So not terrible anyway. It's got some nice stats. It's non-elemental, which can be very helpful for her or maybe someone else in your party, and it is the sword that she has on in her sprite. Now moving on down, let's collectively collect ourselves. Look at these 7-star skills. So High Voltage Twin Blade, Dazzling Twin Blade, and Tempestuous Twin Blade, all right, are all very similar. They're all 6.0 multipliers, and they're all 12 hit skills, and they're all the same chaining family, just Onion Slice. Okay, they all share those things. The only difference is that one is a lightning skill that does lightning and peril, one's a light skill that does light and peril, and one is a wind skill that does wind and peril. So that's 3 of her skills right there. And then the all-important General's Manifesto. 6 turn cooldown, available on turn 1. Decrease attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 70% for 3 turns to all enemies. Increase limit burst gauge fill rate by 200% for 3 turns to all allies. This skill, if you have access to it, if you have two Lorens, this skill is going to be amazing for you. She's going to bring you into the fray. If you've never used a 70% or higher break in your life, prepare to have your life changed as far as FFBE is concerned, because it is incredibly powerful. If you haven't been informed about how strong breaks are in this game, go check out the video I made a long time ago about like breaks are the best thing in the game. It's going to reduce your damage taken by a boss by about like 90% less damage taken. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And in addition to that, the high tide bonus for Loren especially is going to be absolutely insane, because it helps her get off her limit burst, which is now an insane limit burst. Now, Tempest Flash here, a roll array chaining family, so you can use this with Lunar, use this with Malphase, use this with Victor, a lot of different units who have a roll array chaining families now. Lilith, Tempest Flash, lightning wind, physical damage, 6.2 times multiplier to all enemies. Super awesome there. Now, as for passives here, the Glory of Ares, you're gonna want to proc this trust ability if you're using this unit. All right, I know she already has dual wield natively, but you're going to want to put her own TMR on her anyway, get a little bit of an attack. But this is going to give you 2 limit burst gauge crystals per turn, 50% true dual wield, and then the all-important upgrades limit burst. We'll get to that when we get to the limit burst, but it's very important. She gets a dagger mastery and katana mastery and large sword mastery for passives, 50% each for either a dagger, katana, or a greatsword. They do stack. 20% MP. And then Twin Blade Secret Arts increases the modifier to Blade Prison, Swift Wind Blade, Quick Bolt Blade, and Grease Lightning. If you don't remember what those 3 skills do, those are the unlocked skills: Swift Wind Blade, Quick Bolt Blade, and Grease Lightning, which you can see right here. Swift Wind Blade, 4.5 base multiplier gets increased by 2.3. It's going to be a 6.8. Quick Bolt Blade, 2.25, increased by 1.25. So it's going to be 3.5. Ignore 50% defense, so 7.0 multiplier there. And then Grease Lightning increased by 1.1. That's going to go from 2.5 to a 3.6, so 7.2. That's going to be her strongest skill there, 7.2 times multiplier with her unlocked LB. Now, her limit burst, let's talk about this, guys. The upgraded limit burst, Kingdom's Order upgraded. This is why you need to upgrade it. Look at the unupgraded version. Unupgraded version, maxed out right here. Physical damage, 7.5 times multiplier, ignore 50% defense. Decrease lightning wind resistance by 79% for 3 turns to all enemies. Enables Grease Lightning, Quick Bolt Blade, and Swift Wind Blade. If you upgrade it by wearing her own Chest Mastery, you get Lightning Wind and Light Resistance by 79% reduction, and Attack, Defense, Magic, and Spirit Break by 74% for 3 turns to all enemies as well. So this allows you to use the Cooldown Skill, get that 70% Attack, Defense, Magic, and Spirit Break on all enemies, and then like use her to chain with Iron Slice or Roll Ray or whatever have you for a while. You have that 200% Limit Burst Gauge fill rate passive from the Cooldown Skill as well. Get those 30 LB crystals. By the time that Attack, Defense, Magic, and Spirit Break wears off from your Cooldown Skill, guess what? Limit Break, 74%, all break again. Once that wears off, if you don't have the Limit Burst up right again, you just use your Cooldown Skill and then Limit Break, and then Cooldown Skill, Limit Break. So she's going to have this really cool thing where you use your Cooldown Skill, do some damage, do some chains, use your Limit Break, get the break back up, do some damage, do some chains, and then either use your Cooldown Skill or Limit Break again. Rinse, repeat, and then just destroy that boss. If you haven't experienced a 70% break, you need to. It'll change your life. All right, so Loren, extremely powerful, very, very strong unit. Blossom Sage Sakura, also very, very good. I don't think she got any changes. Loren didn't get any changes either because they were already strong enough. But her super team art here is the Sakura Robe, my favorite robe in the game. If you have the ability to get this, go ahead and get it. Magic plus 77, Spirit plus 42, 50% lightning resistance, and auto limit, which gives you 1 limit burst gauge crystal per turn. You put this on anybody. All right, it's not restricted just to females or anything like that. So throw this on your Nicole, throw it on your Sakura, throw it on whoever you want. Throw it on your magic tank if you want, right? For those lightning bosses, get that 50% lightning resistance. So an insanely powerful super TMR. Now scrolling down to her 7-star skills here. Thunder's Fortification. Increase lightning resistance by 100% for 3 turns to all allies. That's kind of whatever. Ethereal Blossom Hex. 8-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Restore 10,000 HP and 100 MP to all allies except for the caster. Increase your attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 130% for 3 turns to all allies except for the caster. Increase your limit burst gauge by 10 to all allies except for the caster. And you do 90% HP damage to yourself. This does cost 40 limit burst gauge crystals. So while it says you can use it on turn 1, you're not going to have 40 limit burst gauge crystals on turn 1. But you can use this later on in the fight to full heal your team or whatever. Get a little bit MP, get some buffs up on everyone. Very helpful. You know, maybe the boss dispelled you and your support needs to do something else. You can get the buffs this way and then have your healer Kiraja you or whatnot there. Electric Infusion, imbue lightning element to physical attacks for 3 turns to 1 ally. So another supportive skill there as well. Okay. Very cool, very cool. 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1. This is Celestial Roar. Remove magic break from the caster. Increase lightning resistance by 100% for 2 turns to the caster. And enable skill for 2 turns to the caster. Quick Penta combo. This is going to give her Pentacast for her quick skill. So she normally has double cast passively. This is going to give her Pentacast. All right, this is going to help her build her stacks up very, very quickly on her stacking skills. Founder of Mysidia is her trust ability. Limit burst gauge fill rate by 50%. 50% true double hand or true dual wield magic, your choice. Increase your limit burst damage by 20%. And then Sweets for Students increases the modifier to Quick Final Thunder, Quick Shock Blade, and Quick Thunder's Light by 1.5. MP plus 20%. And then Rebel Animus, increase your modifier to Quick Rebel Intention by 0.8. And then Magic plus 30% and 50% lightning resistance, guys. Her limit burst here, Eternal Ray, doesn't get buffed that much. It's 18 times multiplier at max level. I really wouldn't bother maxing it out because she can be a chain finisher for you. So the cool thing about her is she gets the 1.5 times multiplier increase to Quick Final Thunder, and she can Pentacast it, right? So let's look at Quick Final Thunder real quick. Quick Final Thunder, lightning magic damage 3.0 multiplier, which is now 4.5 multiplier base, with consecutive damage increase 8 times, 1.5 times multiplier increase each time to a 15 times multiplier total. With that 15 times multiplier max is now going to be 16.5. And the cool thing about her Pentacast is that you're able to unlock Pentacast and then quick Penta combo, and you get those stacks very fast. You get 5 of those stacks immediately, and then you dual cast and you start hitting with 16.5 times multiplier. So if you guys have been using CG Sakura, she's going to do everything that she did before, but better. She's going to have more utility for you guys. She's going to have more, buffs and views, heal, MP, all that fun stuff. And she's going to be able to do her damage faster. So go ahead and have fun with her. She's going to be awesome. Now, there are some more that we're going to be doing, but those are going to be in part 2. All right, guys, if you want to see that, it's going to be coming out later today as well. So go ahead and hit that sub button. And that'll be coming out right before I stream, probably around like 6 PST, something like that. And we'll be streaming tonight, doing some cool stuff, guys. So hopefully You're as excited as I am for these unit awakenings, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.